Hello everyone, it's Skit, and today I'm going to be showing you my Battlebot Triforce. Now, it hasn't competed in any competitions yet, but I hope it will. And yeah, so let's get right into it. So the bot uses normal tactile steering powered by two L motors. So it just can it's got pretty good mobility even though it's front wheel drive. Now the controller is made up of two individual controllers with each of them controlling one side of the bot. Now this side here, this controller, you put your finger here and you just push back so the spinner spins up. You don't need to wait to spin it down because that will automatically happen, and this knob will activate the self-righting arm. You push back so the self-righting arm goes back, and you push forward so the self-righting arm comes back up. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about the spinner. It's the main weapon, and if we move the bot closer, you can see that it's powered by an XL motor here, which unfortunately sticks out a little bit, but that won't be a problem since it's quite this is actually quite like stuck in, so there's no chance of it actually coming off or anything. So it's powered by the XL motor, which is geared up through quite a few gears so it's about a 25:1 gear ratio, and the bar spinner spins at about 5,000 RPM, which is, so far, I think is the fastest spinner on YouTube, but I haven't actually seen any other ones that are faster than this. Along with that, in case the weapon stalls or is stopped immediately by hitting an enemy, then this compression system can actually keep the motor running a little bit, just so the motor does not heat up or get slightly damaged. Right, so now there's also a self-righting arm on the back, which is geared through a 1:15 gear ratio, powered by an L motor. So it can because the bot cannot drive upside down. I must have it included a self-righting arm since it's only front wheel drive. Now the self-righting arm also acts as armor to all the internals here, like the gears for the weapon or the gears for the self-righting itself, and also perhaps maybe the receivers, which could get damaged here. Now let's look at the underside. Now what you can see is the underside is actually not armored at all, but that should be okay because the bot rarely gets turned over. It's powered by two L motors here with the tactile steering, like I said before. We also use the two 16-teeth gears just to push the wheel forward a bit more, and so it gives it a distance between here. We have two battery boxes, one powering each side, so the controller is actually easier to use. And then at the back here we also have back armor, which actually protects the switches that switch on and off, which those are very vital in the combat. So okay, now I'm just gonna talk about the features of the bot which actually help it win a battle. Now firstly, you probably can't see this, but the ground clearance between from the armor here to the ground is actually very low, so flipper bots cannot get under it, or any bot really, so it's really hard to get under and lift up and then flip. And I actually reckon that this may have actually got a 0mm ground clearance. It's also featured on the back here, where it's again got very low ground clearance, apart from here, because there is not actually enough space to mount a smaller piece, so this part here is a bit vulnerable. On the front, we have very low wedges, which actually sit on the ground, so they can get underneath lots of things. It's just these two curved panel pieces, and then they're just sitting on axles here, which with gravity push it down, so it can get under pretty much anything. The wedges can also be changed out to feature anti-horizontal blades. So I'm just going to put that on right now. Now the wedges are on. Now these wedges aren't as low to the ground, but they can pack a punch and they won't get damaged like this one. I actually didn't make one. I tested against my horizontal spinner Boris, and it did get a bit chipped and a bit warped. So these wedges actually are really good against horizontal spinners. So they actually negate all the damage. Now these wedges are a bit like Battlebot, the season 3 and 4 champion. And also I have this full wedge, which helps against full defense, whereas this one allows the spinner to connect a bit more. Now on the back we have 2 pins on the back here, so the bot can manually go back and forth and ram whatever behind it. So it's got a pretty wide space here, and maybe even a bit further out, so these pins can actually ram other bots. Now the bot, as you can see, is heavily armored, so the front wheel here is fully paneled armored. Here, along with the top, is armored, and a second layer of armor can be seen here to not cause damage to any of the battery boxes. Same on the back. The back is also, along with that ram there, is heavily armored along with the top. And the only weak front may be the front, but then the thing is that it's been reinforced, so that is actually quite strong itself. Okay, so let's go see the bot in action.